The world outside the garden walls is preparing for winter. Even here, change stirs among the fragrant herbs, the marigolds fading to gold, the basil gathering itself for rest. But inside the stone walls, life prepares for its own kind of slumber. For 2 moons, Miran has tended the hearth fire in the kitchens, watched Lady Isolde move through the castle with the easy grace of a willow in the wind, listened to the bard, Milo, sing new songs beneath the darkening sky. Now, beneath the elder tree, she gathers herbs with Isolde, while the wind rustles tailies through the leaves. "Why do the trees whisper?" Miran asks, always the student. "Because they have many stories," Isolde replies, tucking a spray of lavender into her sleeve. "And many roots that remember." When the sun dips lower, Miran helps set the long tables in the great hall, with linen and silver, anticipating the return of King Alaric and Queen Isolde, who will stay many nights in the castle before venturing south for the winter. This evening, though, they dine in the gardens. A bonfire crackles merrily, chasing away the lingering chill. The 3 of them sit close, faces illuminated by the flames. Between them, the remnants of a day. A queen's crown glints in the firelight. A lute rests on crossed arms. A dog snores at their feet. The scent of wood smoke mingles with the fragrance of roasting venison. "What will the king say?" Miran asks, watching Isolde set a crown of thorns upon her lap. Milo shifts closer. He will say we feast well, the finest victuals, the warmest hearth. He will say the road was swift, and the castle a sanctuary. And then he will ask for news. He pauses, looking from the queen to the princess and back again. "And what will you say?" Miran asks, softly. "We will say," Isolde answers, smiling faintly, "that our lives are good. Winter will come soon, bringing with it the biting wind that whistles through these very gardens. Soon, the castle will be full once more, bustling with lords and ladies seeking refuge from the cold. Soon, the hunt will begin in earnest, and the tables will groan with the bounty of the forest. Soon, Miran will walk the high battlements with the queen at her side. They will watch the hawk circles above the drawbridge rise, and then the snow will fall, blanketing the world in white. And still, within these 4 walls, life will continue. Stories will be written and rewritten. Songs will be sung and wove into tapestries. Lanterns will be lit. The castle will hold its breath, and dreams will take flight. Welcome to our special Harvest Moon episode of The Folklore. Before we begin, please take some time to leave a review. Let us know what you think of the show. You can help us out tremendously and allow us to bring folklore to even more listeners. These were for the bundles, small charms to ward off nightmares and bring good dreams to children. And the garden grew bountiful, heavy with fat pumpkins and gourds, their skins shining orange and green. Just a softness that folds over the garden like an old woolen shawl. They are foreclosure. Elders bring jars of rainwater, collected under the last full moon. No one speaks loudly. She lets it go with a breath. Lady Isolde leans beside the elder tree, Miran at her side. Neither speak. Every Wednesday, we release a podcast exclusive for our members. We've got 2 new ones coming up. One about a haunted house in New Orleans, and another about ghost planes that crash. Milo sits on the stone path nearby, his fingers idly strumming lullaby chords that echo like echoes of dreams somewhere far off. An owl calls, a soft, rounded sound, like a bell wrapped in velvet. The garden breathes it in and exhales peace and feels lighter. When the villagers leave, they do so slowly, as though not wanting to disturb the spell. Children sleep in arms. Fathers carry lanterns carefully, like blessings in a cradle. If you would like to support the show, the link is in the description below. Also, we have a new website. Check it out. Until then, remember, the most important stories are the ones we tell ourselves. See you next week. It has all the ways you can support the show and access all of our exclusive content. Isolde watches them all go, then turns once more to the garden. It remains glowing, guarded, grateful. No one shouts. The garden teaches them how to enter gently. Marin leads the way through the rosemary arch. We also have a bonus episode available for our supporters, where I read a terrifying folktale about the origins of offering each guest a pressed sprig of thyme tied with silver thread. At the circle's center, Isolde waits with an old copper bowl set atop a wide. Milo joins her there, his lute resting against his knee. When everyone is gathered, Lady Isolde lifts her gaze. "This garden has grown with your hands," she says softly. "With your breath, your stories, your grief. Tonight we light the lanterns, not to ward off darkness, but to honor it." She pauses, then nods to Marin. Marin steps forward with a single taper, lit from the hearth inside the keep. She dips it toward the first lantern. One by one, the lanterns bloom with flame. Gold amber, rose. They cast long, slow shadows across the herb beds, over the stone walls, through the silvered leaves of the ash tree. The garden glows as if it remembers every season at once. 4. Thanks the notes fall like petals, gentle, rounded, each one pausing in the air before settling into the soil. Lady Isolde does not sing, but her voice can be felt in every breath of wind that passes through the rosemary. Marin, watching it all, feels the hush settle deep into her chest. It is not silence, it is fullness. For memory, Marin helps string them along the inner wall, each horn lantern tied with a soft ribbon of russet-dyed cloth. Lady Isolde hums the garden's evening song, and the lanterns, in turn, flicker like slow, steady heartbeats. Lady Isolde walks the inner circle slowly, her hands trailing through tall fennel and flowering sage. She's wearing a cloak of teal-dyed wool, fastened with an iron pin in the shape of a leaf. Her hair, always coiled so precisely, has slipped slightly in the wind. Not unkempt, but free. There, they take turns placing tokens at its base, bundles of dried rue, folded notes, small etched stones. Some are cheerful, hopeful offerings. Others are heavy with unspoken sorrows. An effigy of twisted wire and straw is tossed into the growing pile, followed by a whispered prayer that is quickly snatched away by the wind. Finally, it is still. No more offerings are laid down, but the space between the trees is not empty. It thrums with 100 hopes and dreams and fears. Milo, the bard, tunes his lute in the glow of the hearthlight. He hums low, not a song, but the memory of one. In the kitchen, Marin slices small rounds of honey cake and fills clay cups with a warm cordial made from rose hips and cloves. The scent lingers long after the cups are gone. Of course, some would find their way into the great hall, carved with ghoulish grins to hold flickering candelabra. Others, too small or misshapen to please the eye, would be saved. Nonetheless, their flesh would become pies, their seeds roasted and salted. Nothing went to waste here. A week ago, a red squirrel brushed against Marina's arm. The lanterns. Once a year, the moon dipped close to earth. Its pale light seeped into the soil, quickening the slumbering bulbs and roots. Soon, the days would shorten again, and the earth would rest, girding itself against the winter snows. It was a time for preparation, but also for gratitude, for release. And the lanterns were a way to honor that. Not only did they chase away the encroaching darkness, they became a bridge between worlds, startling her with a flash of russet fur and a chirp. She laughed, high and bright. It was the kind of day that made her want to spin, to dance, to braid the sunshine itself into her hair. But duty held her to the kitchen hearth. Duty and the approaching harvest moon. Soon, the nights would stretch long and cold, and the garden would need its lanterns. She dipped her head to gather rosemary, thyme and fennel, seeds already tinged with gold and bronze. In the evenings, when the harvest moon climbed higher, then hung heavy in the darkening sky, Marin helped Lady Isolde prepare. That night, the harvest moon arrives quietly. No great trumpet of wind, no sudden chill. Tonight, the lanterns are not just for light. The gathering begins at twilight. Villagers arrive with woven baskets and candles of bees. Children wear crowns of dried marjoram and yellow broom. Milo begins to play. Later, when the stars have fully bloomed overhead, Lady Isolde invites them all to the elder tree. Marin places her own offering, a ribbon once tied to a mother's apron, now gently scented with lavender. That night, as the last ember dims, if you enjoyed this episode, I encourage you to check out our previous episodes about Samhain and the origins of Halloween. If you'd like to support the show and get exclusive content every week, consider joining our membership program. Thank you to our supporters. Your support makes these specials possible. Next week, we will be back with our regular programming and a special guest. So we were wondering when we were writing this, when we were scripting this, we were wondering what if someone came to the garden not just as a visitor, filling up this beautiful book with the knowledge that the garden holds. And I love that the book is sort of an afterthought to the garden. It doesn't start with the book. Wow, that's really cool. They can just enjoy it on that level. And finally, let us know what you think. What if somebody made the lantern garden their life? What would that look like? Share your thoughts with us. We'd love to hear them. If someone else wants to see it and be like, hey, I can use this in my craft, they can do that. And if someone else wants to see it and go, how can this become part of my everyday life? They can do that as well. It starts with the experience. The recipes are unjust written down, because that is what you do at the end of a fair. It's because there's a depth to them, a meaning to them that goes beyond just mixing up a potion. This is part of a culture. These are traditions that have been handed down. This is history. But maybe as a student, sure, that's one layer of it. But hopefully, if someone really wanted to immerse themselves in it, if they wanted to learn, they could make it a part of their own life. You know, what rituals could they take away? How could they use the garden in their own lives? How could they incorporate the lessons of the garden into their daily life? Because ultimately, the garden isn't just a place. It's a state of mind. It's a practice. It's a way of being in the world. It's learning how to pay attention. It's learning how to notice the small details. It's learning how to connect with the natural world. It's learning how to connect with yourself. What if they stayed a while? Well, what if she stayed a lifetime? And so I think there's a lot of interesting ideas about what it means to be a healer. Not just in terms of tending the garden, but in terms of tending yourself. When Isolde speaks, she says, this garden tends me, and I tend it. That's a very powerful concept. Tending someone else can be a form of healing, as can tending yourself. So what if this wasn't just a visit to the garden, but an immersion in the garden? What if it became part of your life? What if you helped care for it? What if you participated in the magic? That's why we have these wonderful scenes where Marin and Isolde are taking care of the garden together. And the idea that, you might learn some of the recipes from the show by watching the show. If someone wanted to see this show and be like, we hope you enjoyed this bonus scene, and we hope that you will tune in every week to watch our series. I know it can be hard to relax sometimes when the world feels loud and full of things you don't want to hear, like petals settling to the ground after the bloom, after the buzzing of bees has died down, after the sun dips low and the shadows grow long, fingers that curl around the roots of ancient trees. Let the heaviness return in your limbs, not with sound, but with sensation, like the feeling of a dream you don't remember, but still wakes you soft and smiling. The valerian nods its sleepy white heads, its tiny bells ringing no sound, but releasing the scent of peace. The wild rosemary releases the scent of summer rain, and the lavender, sweet, strong lavender, shivers once, then stills. Above, the sky is deeper now, not yet black, but close. A rich indigo brushed with soft gray, like velvet, has been worn and loved. Not like burden, but like comfort. A warm cloak drawn close across the chest, sheltering you from everything that's not here. And the earth answers. Soft pulses rise through her palms, not in words, but in warmth. The warmth of the herbs, the warmth of the bees, the warmth of those who once walked this path and whispered to the same leaves, lit the same lanterns, sang the same lullaby. This garden has always held secrets. But more than that, it has held love. You can feel it now, too, can't you? The hush, The hum, the belonging. Let it settle behind your eyes. Let it smooth out your breath. Let your body become soft again. You're part of the garden now. Let your breath match the rhythm of the garden now. They were for remembrance, for peace, for the promise that somewhere, always a gentle place waits for you. And here, dear one, you may rest a while. No one will call. No one will need. The only sound is the slow, sleeping sigh of plants and the gentle breath of a woman who's known many names. But tonight is simply slow and slower still. You can come here. You can rest here. You can let go of what you don't need to hold anymore. Tonight the lanterns remember, and the garden dreams. And you can dream too, can't you? Let the wheel of the day turn and turn away from you. It doesn't touch you here. It's always night here. Always a time to rest. Yes, let the birdsong fade away. Let the rumble of traffic become a distant hum. Hear the trees hold the noise away. Don't they? It's all right. It's all right here. The tree remembers. The leaves remember. You are still safe here. Love, you are still safe here. Let the hush fall again. Here the brambles are kind and the bracken holds no threat. The silver ash tree, it weeps fireflies at dusk, and its leaves murmur with every shift of the wind, whispering stories to those who know its tongue. Lady Isolde moves with such quiet grace. It is hard to tell whether she walks or whether the garden carries her. She dances with the trees, swaying to the music only she can hear. In her hands, her slender, ringless hands, she cradles a single lantern. Its glow has grown softer now, more amber than gold, a little drowsy, like a flame nearly ready to sleep, to dream. She moves like a moth to the light, to the dark moth, wings heavy with pollen, drunk on nectar, seeking the soft, cold embers of twilight. She kneels near the base of the tree, brushes aside some moss, and places the lantern in a hollow that has always been there, though few notice it anymore. And then she closes her eyes. Her lips move in a language older than Latin, older than the courtly tongues of kings and bishops. The plants know it. The soil knows it. The lantern listens. A prayer, perhaps, or a memory, or simply a sigh that has waited too long to be spoken aloud. All around her, the garden begins to stir. Lady Isolde places both hands flat to the earth. The lanterns were never just for light.